I'm Hazel, it's Saturday today, which makes it time to sit down and catch up on the WoW news of the week, what I've been up to, and answer some of your questions. This week we got our first look at the brand new Dragonflight Keystone Master mount. Here it is an Armoridon. Looks like this. In the tradition of Keystone Master mounts, we can expect this to get recolored several times for each subsequent season. I think that it looks fantastic standing still, and it looks awful while running. There is something really off about the running animation, and this is still beta, so hopefully that gets touched up a little bit. I've got my fingers crossed for that. It does not fly, but that doesn't really bother me too much this time, since our flying mounts that are not dragon riding mounts won't fly in Dragonflight, at least at first, and in dungeons, where you earned the thing, you'll be on ground mounts anyways, so that's all fine and good. I just hope that eventually it runs in a way that feels a little teeny tiny bit more natural, although, you know, we have some mounts in game that have some pretty wonky run cycles, so maybe not, we'll see. Speaking of Mythic Plus, we have our first little bit of information about the first seasonal affix called Thundering. Players will discharge excess energy that can damage and stun allies. And we also got a blue post that kind of talks at length about the developers' goals for Mythic Plus and Dragonflight, and a little bit about the role of that affix. So it's a pretty long post. I will link it for you to read it in its entirety if you would like. I got a couple of big takeaways from this article. The first one is that generally they think that the rotating dungeon pool should help shake things up enough between seasons that you're not relying so much on having like a big crazy season affix to keep things fresh. So with that in mind, they're actually going to scale back the impact of the seasonal affix, make them less complicated. They're also aiming to have less borrowed power from the affix, so perhaps the Thundering affix won't give you any kind of a crazy buff to work with, and it really is just like some stun circles to dodge. The one thing that I would like to see, and we'll find out, there is Mythic Plus testing over the weekend that I'm going to try. The one thing that I really liked about like the borrowed power from a seasonal affix was the different ways in which they would give healers mana top-ups, because I felt that was just really nice for the pace of the dungeon for everybody, so that you don't have to just sit down and watch your healer chug. I hope that they take a look at that and we sort of see how it feels in testing and then give some feedback, because I don't really miss having to sit and drink. I understand wanting to scale back the crazy powers that you get from the seasonal affix so that we can just kind of focus on learning the dungeons and doing them normally, but I miss my mana bubbles already. They haven't even taken them away from me yet. The other big headline in Dragonflight Mythic Plus is the item level rewards will continue scaling all the way up to plus 20, whereas previously getting a plus 15 was going to give you the best vault option that you could. Now if you want to get a maximized Mythic Plus vault option, you're going to need to push keys all the way to a plus 20, and it's going to be a little bit harder because they're making their difficulty increase more between like 11 and 12 and 12 and 13. Like past 11, each keystone level you go up is now a 10% buff to health and damage instead of just 8. So it's going to be more of a mark of excellence for players to have the very best gear for Mythic Plus, kind of the same way that it is for Raid. I think that for me, that would definitely keep me playing a little longer in the season. I don't know if I like need the best of the best Mythic Plus gear to get by with my life, but I will say that most Mythic Plus seasons, my group and I will play for like 4 weeks maybe, have a ton of fun, but then we've kind of gotten our Keystone Master, we've gotten our, you know, we're getting our weekly vault with just one dungeon run at that point, and we've kind of done everything. And this seems just like it's going to stretch things out further for people that really want those extra goals to push for. They're going to have better rewards to show for it. Something else that I want to highlight from the Dragonflight beta this week is some updates to the UI and edit mode, and just kind of a recap on where we're at with the UI and edit mode in case you haven't seen it in a while. The last time that I showcased it on my channel, it was a very early version, and this is what it looks like now in the current beta build of Dragonflight. You are able to move and resize all kinds of things, and we now have magnetic snapping to this grid feature to help you kind of keep things nice and organized if that's what you want. Many more elements movable, customizable. You can move like your encounter bar, which also functions as your vigor bar for dragon riding. You can scoot your boss frames. You can take your cast bar and make it huge or make it teeny tiny and put it wherever you want. Make yourself a nice layout or import one from somebody else. And then you can swap between layouts very easily using this drop-down menu in the edit mode. The one frequently asked question that pops up, at least in my stream, is about the minimap, and I will say that at this point you cannot resize the minimap or change its shape. You can move the header above or below it, but you are unable to turn it into like a square or make it any bigger at this time. On the topic of nameplates though, which is kind of my favorite thing to complain about with the new UI that has not been updated yet, no sign of it on beta, but I did find this dev tweet that mentions that it's one of those things that they're aware of the woes and they would like to do something about it, but it's a big project and it won't be in time for 10.0, so at least we know where they're at on that one. Other Dragonflight stuff, we got a big juicy blog post write-up of the different Dragonflight factions that you can earn renown with in the new expansion. Talks about the different themes of them and the benefits that you can get for working through their renown. Dragonscale Expedition in particular apparently is going to get a transport network that even your alts can take advantage of, which is a promising thing to hear right off the bat. It is worth noting when looking at these renown paths, there's no player power stamina buffs in the tree, so if you're a raid logger, you can totally ignore this and pretend the system doesn't exist and you'll be fine. However, if you are interested in outdoor gameplay, stuff like the transport network, crafting recipes and professions, outdoor quality of life buffs, or cosmetics, lots and lots and lots of cosmetics, then those are all things that you're going to want to engage with the renown system for. One thing that I like is that there's nothing that prevents you from working on all of them if you choose. You don't have to pick one and then shun everybody else, but it is going to be kind of fun to pick out what you want to personally work on first. Over on live Shadowlands servers, the Winds of Wisdom experience buff is now live, so if you are wanting to level some alts before Dragonflight, then log on and hop to it. 50% extra experience from that one, and there is no word on when the pre-patch might be for Dragonflight, although the expansion launches on November 28th, so sometime between now and then. And then in my life this week, Monday is actually Canadian Thanksgiving, and this is the very first one that I will be spending at home with my family in a long, long time. I'm really looking forward to it. We're doing a little potluck dinner and I am making dessert. So of course I've made the smart and wise decision to try to make something that I have never made before. I'm gonna do it. I don't know why. And questions for this week. Lydia wants to know, will the new group looting method in Dragonflight change the way loot works in Mythic Plus, or is it just for raids? As of right now, to the best of our knowledge, it is just for raids. They may talk about some different loot tactics for dungeons later on. The beginning of the raid post about it was kind of mysterious about whether or not they're doing anything for Mythic Plus loot, but at least right now on beta, all the dungeons are still using personal loot, and if you ask me, it should stay that way. With only 5 people present, having completely random loot is not fun. I know it used to work that way, but times change. Sometimes there's progress. I think that with only 5 people present, the frustration of having unusable loot would be much more common in Mythic Plus than it might be in a raid. So I'm of the opinion that they should definitely keep personal loot, at least for M+. And then Dustin asks, when you started talking about meal prep, it made me remember your fun cooking videos. Are you going to do any more soon? I am not planning on doing any more big main channel content like that. The baking streams in particular were a big production. So I'm kind of making the main focus of the channel the WoW and the gaming stuff, but I have been recording some real life stuff, including bread baking, but also my fishing trips and stuff, and using that for my member videos. And that way I can have it be a little bit more casual, kind of a smaller audience. Super fans that want to support me can get access to the kind of that behind the scenes stuff, and then I don't have to spam the main channel audience that mostly just wants WoW stuff with me making sourdough or catching a bass. And then Cozy Kiwi and a couple of other people also asked, I believe you mentioned early on that you were considering maining Evoker. Are you still considering that? And what are your thoughts about them now that it's been a few months? So I've been playing quite a bit of Evoker on beta, and I love it. It's beautiful. The dungeon healing, in particular, is really fun. You have cool abilities. You have an awesome toolkit that it really feels satisfying to weave it together to make big heals happen. The toolkit and the spells I'm in love with. My problem is that I've remembered gnomes. I miss being a gnome. I was a gnome shadow priest for a couple of expansions, and then for Shadowlands I went to be a human holy priest, and I just got hit with this huge wave of I really want to be a gnome. Plus, I have all of this gorgeous cloth transmog, and evokers wear mail, which is not my preferred transmog to use, plus they don't even wear half of it in their dragon form. And Holy Priest looks cool, and Shadow Priest looks cool in Dragonflight. I like the look of the talents a lot, and I've been playing them on beta a little bit as well, particularly in raid testing, and that's fun. But I'm kind of, I don't know. I need to go find a waterfall and commune with the earth spirits or something. I don't know how to make that choice. I want the toolkit that Evoker has, but the Priest toolkit's been updated. But the Evoker Visage form is gorgeous. But gnomes. I don't know. And that has been my week. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions for the videos, please pop them in the comments and include the word question to help me find them. Appreciate you guys. Stop by a stream sometime if you like. I do stream on Twitch 5 days a week, mornings 9 to 11, 12-ish. Pacific time, generally speaking. We've been doing a little bit of Evoker leveling on beta. I appreciate you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day.